From ABC's Hope and Faith, please welcome Paulie Litt.
Hey, this is Paulie Litt, and I'm so excited to be here, and let's get this thing rolling.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Mike Grand Show, and today's special guest is from the hit ABC sitcom Hope and Faith. Please welcome Paulie Litt. Hey Paulie, how are you?
I'm good, Mike. How you doing today?
Good. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Oh man, thank you for having me.
So we're going to have a lot of fun, everybody. So the first question that I want to ask Paulie is, how did he get involved in acting?
Ooh, well, we got to go way back. I'm getting old, Mike. I've been doing it 20 years. So when I was 6 years old, actually, I guess my mom knew there was something different with me because I think I broke about 3 or 4 VHSs. I don't know if the viewers remember VHSs, but you had to rewind them and then start all over. It's not like these DVDs and iPhones nowadays. And I broke about 3 or 4 VHSs of Ace Ventura, and I watched it until I could mimic every line and I knew every line of the movie. So my mom knew that, and then somebody came up to us in the mall and my mom wasn't, said no, wasn't too thrilled with it, the whole thing. But after speaking with my grandmother, and we took the interview, and I went and I met with an agency, and they wanted to sign me immediately and sent me on my first audition, which was an Oreos commercial. And I was very fortunate and blessed. I got the first audition I went on. So I guess they say the rest is history.
Yeah, that sounds like me with the VCR. I would break all those tapes all the time because I would watch them over and over and over again. All my favorite shows, record everything. Nowadays, I mean, everything's to us on the internet, on demand, streaming services. But back in the day, we had to record everything that we wanted to save and see.
Yeah, it was definitely different times, and it wasn't as easy at your fingertips like it is today. I mean, I think Hope and Faith, a lot of the episodes are even on YouTube nowadays.
Yep. So you eventually got cast on Hope and Faith. So can you tell us, you played Justin Shanowski on there, the son of Faith Ford. So can you tell me how you got cast on Hope and Faith?
Oh, wow. So that's a crazy story. So, they had done the pilot episode, and there was a few casting changes. Actually, I think you'd have to ask, but I think Ted wasn't on it in the very beginning. Macy, I think Macy, the middle sister, was the only original member along with Kelly and Faith. There were a lot of casting changes, and they had already been in production. They got picked up, and they hadn't finished the pilot, but they were holding auditions for Justin. And I went in and I met with Gil Unger, who's the director, and Emil Levisetti and Joanna Johnson. And it's a very funny story that we tell in my household because I guess I was 8 at the time, and it was Emil, and Emil's like this just very suave, good-looking guy with his hair combed back, just well put together. And Gil's just very much, rough and tumble. He's a director. He's always on the move. And I don't know how it came up, but I said something we said something to the effect of, like Emil was a good looking guy, Joanna, or somebody said something like that. And Gil, dead serious, goes, well, Paulie, how about me? what about me? And just only as a kid could do. I just said dead serious. Well, I think back in the day you were good looking. And I don't know. I guess that sealed the deal. Because after that they cast me. So
That's funny.
that's how it went. Yeah.
Yep. So on the show, it starred Kelly Ripa and Faith Ford. And what always kind of drove me a little crazy and was confusing is because Faith Ford played Hope, Kelly Ripa played Faith. So just because of Faith Ford and Faith, I was always a little confused sometimes. I'm like, they have that different person playing Faith,
Tell me about it. We made mistakes like that all the time. I mean, Faith was Hope, Kelly was Faith. I was just like craziness, but we managed to get it done. But yes, that was always a topic of conversation every year.
Yeah, I thought that was always funny. So can you tell us a little bit about your memories of both Kelly Ripa and working with Faith Ford?
I mean, family. That's the first word that pops into mind is family. Everybody on the show, we still continue to talk. Everybody, when I'm in New York, I see Kelly all the time. Faith obviously is down in Louisiana, so she's in the South as well. That's where she's from. I talk to Faith pretty regularly. She really is like my second mom, and I call her that. And Campy and her husband is just they're both amazing people, and they have their pups with them. They have dogs all over the place in their on their property in Louisiana. And there's the farm, and they're just wonderful people. And Macy the same way. Macy's like a sister to me. Macy's now a nurse. I mean, her sister just got married. It's just, you just grow up with these people.
Yep. And then your dad on the show was played by Ted Mcginley. So can you tell us a little bit about working with Ted?
Oh, Ted's the man. He's so funny. He has sons that are about my age. Well, actually, one's a year older, one's 18 months younger, and him and Gigi are just fantastic people. Ted's a little bit of a jokester, though, so there were quite a few. What shall we call them? I guess. Well, there were pranks that were always going on the set, and Ted usually was the instigator in them. I'm not going to throw him under the bus, but I am. I'm going to have to. So, and then Kelly got involved a lot of the times. Like I remember this one time, I think it was Ted who started this whole bit, and then it sort of just had this domino effect. And one time I got this beautiful gift at my door, at my dressing room door. And I thought, man, this is a beautiful gift. It was wrapped. It had a bow. It was just gorgeous. And I'm unwrapping it, and it was a box inside of a box. So I thought, oh, this is funny. It's going to be something really small. And as I started opening the box, I said, geez, this smells terrible. And then I opened another box, and then finally it's a newspaper wrapper in there. And I think, what the heck? And I unwrapped the newspaper, and it's a dead fish's head from the Fulton's Fish Market. It was a gift from Kelly because, well, now I'll tell you, about a week earlier, Kelly doesn't really like hamsters. So I decided that I would I would fill her dressing room, her shower with pet hamsters. So when she went into the bathroom, there were all hamsters everywhere. And as a 9-year-old, I thought it was absolutely hilarious to hear Kelly scream throughout the studio. So she vowed to get me back, and she did.
That's hilarious. So as 9 years old, you're sitting there pranking Kelly Ripa.
Yep. Yeah, we had a lot of fun. That's all we did. We were like big kids.
So,
Everybody.
I mean, on the set, I mean, especially Kelly Ripa and Faith Ford, their characters together, there was a lot of physical comedy that they did, which was really great. What did you learn as a child actor watching them do that?
Oh, talk about an education, Mike. I mean, I would just sit back and observe. I mean, you're learning from, I mean, Faith, obviously, with her Murphy Brown background, from the greats, you know. I mean, to witness what they were able to do um physically was just outrageous. I mean, it was just watching pros and being a part of a team that had all pros, and Ted as well. And the guest stars. I mean, we had so many guest stars that were just massive at the time, even to get on a sitcom. So, I mean, there's just too many things I can tell you about. There really is just too many things. But one thing that always really was cemented from day one, from Kelly, was how wonderful she is to her fans and how gracious she is with her time. You know, Kelly was super busy, you know, obviously doing live with Regis and Kelly, and then she'd come over the bridge and work on Hope and Faith for till, you know, 8, 9 o'clock sometimes, and then she'd have to go back over, and then she was up at, you know, crack of dawn to get back over there and do it all over again. Plus, she had 3 kids. You know, when we first started, Joaquin was just born. You know, now Kino's in college. So to see this woman who was just always on the go and moving, without a doubt, never hesitate to take the moment to talk to a fan and sit with a fan or sign an autograph. And she used to always say, without them, I'd be nothing. And that was always really cemented in my memory, even at a young age.
Yep, exactly. And Kelly started on All My Children as a soap opera
Mm-hmm.
actress too, which is kind of the basis of the show, how she was an out of work soap opera actress and went back and lived with her family.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I guess it was loosely based. You know, Joanna Johnson was was the creator of Hope and Faith, and Joanna had her up and comings within the soap opera world as well. So it just kind of meshed when Kelly came aboard.
And I always said too, I mean, it was definitely great training ground for Kelly. And it's a shame there's not that many soap operas in the daytime now, because that's a great training ground where you
Yeah.
really have to know your lines, because every day you're pumping out an episode there.
Yeah. I remember we used to have, you know, there was a couple episodes during Sweeps Week where we had a lot of the soap stars on. You know, we had like a crossover episode. There was a wife swap episode with one of them as well. And it was amazing to talk to these people. They'd come over, they'd be like, oh, this is a breeze. You know, this is easy what you guys do. You go Monday for a table read, you got a whole week to learn a script, and then Thursday, Friday, you're filming. So yeah, they're troopers over there.
Yep, and you definitely had a wide range of guest stars. So I'm going to name just some of the names of the people who have guest starred on here. But you've had Clint Black, Nick Lachey,
Mm-hmm.
Dean Cain, Kathy Lee Gifford, Jenny McCarthy, Carmen Electra, Susan Lucci, Mark Consuelos, Kelly Ripa's husband, Tom Arnold, Brian Austin Green,
Yeah.
Dixie Carter, Robert Wagner. I mean, so many great legends have come on there. Now, did you know at the time when you were that age who all these people were?
You know, it was funny. For the most part, I knew a lot of them. There were two that really, well, three that stick out in my mind. So growing up in New Jersey, I was a huge Frank Sinatra fan. I grew up with the 30s, 40s big band era music. And for me, there were three people that really stuck out. And I'll probably save the best for last. One was Tony Curtis. Tony was so gracious with his time with me, to take his time to sit down, tell me stories about the olden days with Sinatra and the Rat Pack and all those boys. I'll never forget it. Next is Robert Wagner, who was alive during those days and the golden era of film. And I'll tell you the truth, he was the only person on that show. I remember when the show got canceled, no one called me from anywhere. And I got this random call, and it was Robert Wagner. And he was such a class act. And he said, "Hey, Paulie, how you doing? It's your grandfather, Robert." He was my grandfather on the show. And he said to me, "Don't worry, it happens. You're going to have a long career. Just keep going. It's happened to me." And I never forgot that. And then the third one that really stuck out, and we became pretty good friends, was Regis. Regis, when I first saw Regis, he was the first real guest star kind of that I was a part of. I went up to my mom and I said, "Mom, he knew like he was on the Joey Bishop show, he knew those guys, and she said, yeah, go up and talk to him." And we wound up singing together. I went on tour with him for a little while in a couple venues and sang with him. And I would sing on the Regis and Kelly show. And we just had this really unique bond of just learning and loving the same music, and that's where we connected. And I even remember there was a time, and there still is, I moved behind the camera and I produce now a lot, and I eventually want to direct. And when Regis found that out, he said, "Hey, Paulie, come over. I want to sit you up in the director's booth while, Regis and Kelly's going on, and you can call out and see how it's going and see what's going on." And he was just always so gracious with his time to me. Looking back, I was a kid. I was a little, kid, and this legend would just spend time with me, and we talk about Notre Dame football. If it wasn't music, it was Notre Dame football, one or the other.
Yep, Regis definitely was a great person, and we all miss him. Definitely a TV legend.
Tremendously. Oh, tremendous.
And one other person that was on the show as well, you did have an older sister, Sydney, who was actually played by two different actresses. First, it was played by Nicole Poggi, and then by Megan Fox. So can you tell us about the two of them, and why was there a switch where a different Megan was, where a different Sydney was cast?
Yeah, we're different. I tell you the truth. Being that I was a kid on the show, I didn't really know why they did it, nor did I ask too many questions. But it is what it is, and it happened. And Megan is great. Megan's a sister to me. So is Nicole. They were. I'll start off with Megan. Megan's like a big brother. Really, I swear. Video games. I remember one year for Christmas, she got Macy and I a PSP when it came out with all video games, and she's like comic books. It's the funniest thing, the world's most beautiful girl in the whole world, and that's what she does. It's very funny, and we just had a ball. We had a ball. It was just having another sibling, and obviously she was a lot younger than Nicole, so it was close. And she was a kid too. She had just turned 18, so she was just like an extended big kid as well. And then Nicole was, even though we only had the 1 year, we became close. And now Nicole is she does jewelry, and she has babies herself. We're all getting old, Mike. Time flies. Megan has kids. Everybody has kids. It's crazy.
What was your favorite episode from the show?
Mm. Ooh, that's tough for me. You know, from a standpoint of like starstruck or awestruck, that never really happened to me in my career. Even whether it was Doubt or if it was Speed Racer or Jersey Girl, whatever film I was on, whatever I'd done, nothing really affected me. But when sports player, I'm a huge sports fan. I grew up with it. I played it. So when sports players came on, or we were able to meet them, or they said they watched the show, that blew my mind. Like I was just like, oh my goodness. So we were fortunate enough to have Roger Clemens and Willie Randolph on our show, and I was just blown away. I mean, it was just I could barely speak. I was just so excited, and so yeah, so that was I believe that's the Just in Time episode when they were on, and I put Ted's signed baseball in the microwave and it blows up.
And how was the crowds like after filming the episodes? You got to go out and see the audience as well, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So we filmed in front of a live audience every Friday night, and it made it just a whole different experience. I tell you the truth, I don't know what it would have been like without that live audience. You know, obviously we're coming out of COVID now, and it's just a very odd time in the world, and I feel bad for these shows that had live audiences and weren't able to have them, or whatever it may be, because it just created such a unique, energetic environment. It was like it was it wasn't similar to doing a play, but it had that feel because you were getting the reactions, and what the writers were so good at and Joanna was so good at was being able to test out, certain lines or certain scenes, and have that live feedback of the audience. And when things weren't working or things weren't playing right, they'd come in, we'd change a couple things, and then, this audience would have this new spin on a scene, and see if it was funny or not.
Yep, and I actually attended an episode of Hope and Faith. It's the first sitcom and the only sitcom I've ever actually got to see filmed live, so it was pretty cool.
That's amazing.
And
yeah.
the episode that I went to was the second half it was the two-parter for season 2, right when Megan joined the cast. So we watched the first episode in the audience. They let us watch because at that time it didn't air yet. So we watched the first episode on video monitors, and then we got to see the whole episode played out and everything. And I actually have here, let's see if you recognize this.
The Hope and Faith water bottle.
Yes.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
We've got...
My grandmother has one of those.
We got Paulie Litt's signature right here. We got Paulie Litt.
No way.
Yep. Kelly Ripa. Faith Ford. And Macy's. So I got 4 signatures on this one. So I kept it after all these years. I've got it still.
That is so funny. I'm gonna have to text them and tell them they're gonna go crazy.
Yep. So it's definitely a lot of fun, awesome experience. So if anyone ever has a chance to see a sitcom live, I definitely recommend it. And you were also nominated. Yep, and you were also nominated for a Young Artist Award as well for your work on Hope and Faith.
Yes. I think Macy and I both were, yeah, I didn't go to that, but we went to the People's Choice when we were nominated for a People's Choice Award. And it's funny, years later, Mike, I never knew this and never found out about it until just about a year ago. I didn't have a lot of other child actor friends growing up. just because my mom really wanted to make sure one was work and one's play, and it was wonderful that she did that. But actually now some of my best friends were child actors. And the kid that I lost to is one of my best friends, Vincent Martella, when he was on a show called Everybody Hates Chris. So we found that out, and we just started laughing.
So you audition for Everybody Hates Chris?
No. But he won the Young Artist Award.
Oh, he won the Young Artist Award
when I was nominated.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's funny.
Yeah.
See, you never know in life who you're gonna meet. So
no.
Do you think that maybe one day there could be a Hope and Faith reunion?
I don't know, Mike. That's up to the powers that be. We've definitely we have all heard about the rumor. We've joked about it, and I'm ready. I think it would be interesting. I'm sure Ted's available, Macy's available. Probably Faith would come around. We have to work out with Kelly. Kelly has a busy schedule.
Yep, and I think that would definitely be awesome to see how years later what happened to everybody. And then also, you were also
it'd be great.
Yep, you were also in the movie Jersey Girl with Ben Affleck. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yep. Oh yeah, that was actually before Hope and Faith. When I think I was 6 when I did that, and with another New Jersey native, Kevin Smith, who's at he has a store in Red Bank. But yeah, we did that a lot in Jersey, and Raquel Castro was with me, and we were both so young, and it was just such a fun experience. It was during Halloween, I remember, believe it or not, and they let us go trick-or-treating on set, which was a lot of fun. Raquel, myself, and Harley, who is Kevin's daughter.
And then another appearance that you made too, which was kind of funny, is when you were on Hope and Faith, you also made an appearance on the Conan O'Brien show and got to meet Conan O'Brien at that young age and joked around with him. What are your memories of that interview?
Yeah, Conan was, it's so funny. That was kind of a last minute thing. They called me. They actually called me that day to do it, and I had to hurry up over there and get there and get ready. And it was kind of just a slam bam, thank you, ma'am. Just I went in and I did it. And like in the interview, I'll remember, I can never forget it. I mean, the man's, he's tall. He's tall. He's just a very tall fella. And I was just very struck by how big he was, and obviously I am not that size.
And then you also were on you did some episodes of the Wizards of Waverly Place as well.
Yeah, well, I did that because one of the writers on Hope and Faith, Peter Moriarty, actually went over, and he was an executive producer of Wizards of Waverly Place, and he wrote the episode, and that's how we got in touch. So it was a Hope and Faith connection. That's why I did it.
And then what were some of the other things that you did after Hope and Faith?
I was in a film, Sweet Racer, with John Goodman, Susan Sarandon, Emil Hirsch. And I did Doubt with Meryl Streep and Philip Seymour Hoffman. I did The Lifeguard. Early on, I was in Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind, and then I started producing. Actually, I first started producing with Faith. I went and I worked on a short film with Faith in Alexandria, Louisiana, and Campy and her husband directed it. And I was also in it with with Faith and Joe Adler. So that's where I got, sort of my feet off the ground. And then I went on to do, I did the Book of Love and Sex Guaranteed and a bunch of stuff producing.
Okay.
So it's
awesome.
been an interesting 20 years, Mike.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then in the past couple of years, you found another interesting thing that you pursued. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So just about 3 years ago, I was in New York talking to a friend of mine who's a designer. And he was telling me how difficult it was to deal with overseas, getting his yarn, getting his fabric from the standpoint of quality and turnover ratio. And I was like a big 2-year-old. You notice I never grew up in the business. I'm just a big kid. So I said, why? And he said, because that's just the way it is. And that didn't really make too much sense to me. So I went to the Union Square Barnes and Noble, and I bought every book I could on textiles and cotton the next day. And I found that a bale of cotton travels twice around the world before it gets turned into a T-shirt and sold to us in America. And I said, that doesn't really make too much sense. If we grow something here, we should spin it here and turn it into a T-shirt and sell it here. And that's what we did. And I founded HPR, Harvest Produce Retail. 2 seconds, there's a truck going by. But I founded HPR with my business partner, Robert Renierson, and we came to the heart of America. And we're in Jonesboro, Arkansas, about 50 minutes outside of Memphis. And we take all cotton that's locally grown within 50 miles of the factory, and we turned it into clothing. So it's been a neat venture out from film. Obviously, I love film. It's always my first love and my true passion. But it's been nice to do something a little different.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now what we're going to do is we're going to play the lightning round. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a couple things, and you just tell me which one you prefer.
All right.
So on your chicken nuggets, do you prefer barbecue sauce, ranch, or honey mustard?
Barbecue.
Okay. And you know what I actually prefer? It's not even one of the choices that I gave you. Just pure honey. Without the mustard. Just honey.
On your chicken nuggets?
On your chicken nuggets. They used to have that when I was a child at McDonald's, and I don't know why we got away from the honey and we mixed mustard in it.
Well, if you know, they have hot mustard over at McDonald's, which I love, the hot mustard.
Yep.
But honey, I'll have to try that. I haven't tried, never did.
Delicious. Put honey on the chicken nuggets and let me know how you like it.
All right.
Soccer or baseball?
Baseball.
What I Like About You or Reba?
What I Like About You.
Better decade. 50s, 60s, or 70s?
Oh, 50s to me. I didn't live in any of them, but I'm going to pick 50s.
And I knew you were going to say that. Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer?
Oh, I guess I Know What You Did Last Summer.
And then which season do you prefer? Summer or winter?
Summer.
Survivor or Big Brother?
Yeah, I didn't really watch either of them, but I guess I'll go Survivor.
Okay. 8 Simple Rules or Less Than Perfect?
Ooh, 8 Simple Rules.
The Macarena or Mambo Number 5?
Ooh, that's the question of the century right there. I'm gonna go Mamba number 5.
Hot coffee or iced coffee?
Ooh, it depends on the season. See, right now I got my iced coffee.
Yep. Do you prefer to call somebody or text somebody?
Call.
And do you have a favorite streaming service?
No, I'm not a streamer. I'm not a streamer. I'm either, it's funny, I'm either ESPN or the stock market channel.
Yeah.
Those are the only channels that are on.
Same with me. I'm not a huge streamer. I have, watched some things on streaming services, but I don't have them normally. I still watch, basic network stuff and cable channels. But okay, so thank you so much for joining us here today. Can you tell everybody if they wanted to get in contact with you?
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Can you tell us how they could contact you if somebody's watching this, one of the fans?
Yeah, just contact me on Instagram at NJBoy33. That's my handle. I don't have a Twitter. I don't have Facebook. I don't have anything. So pretty much Instagram at NJBoy33.
Okay, and thank you again for joining us, and thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye.